Introduction, narrator tone. Tonight's story takes us to London on a cold winter's night. If you've ever traveled late at night on an empty train, you'll know the uneasy silence, the flickering lights, and the feeling that someone might be watching you. But for one young man, that train journey became his worst nightmare. Story Part 1. The Last Train. It was December 2018. Thomas Miller, a 26-year-old graphic designer, had been working late in central London. After finishing at around 11:45 p.m., he rushed to King's Cross Station to catch the last northbound train back to his flat in Barnet. The station was nearly empty, the usual crowd long gone. Thomas bought a ticket, checked the timetable, and boarded the last train of the night. The train was eerily quiet, just a few scattered passengers. The lights flickered slightly as the carriage doors hissed shut. The automated announcement echoed, "This is the last service to High Barnet. Please mind the closing doors." Thomas sat down, put his bag beside him, and took out his phone. The Wi-Fi signal underground was patchy, and after a while he just stared out the window as the train rattled into the darkness of the tunnels. Part 2. The Passenger. At the second stop, Camden Town, the doors slid open. Hardly anyone boarded, except for one figure. A young woman stepped in. She wore an old-fashioned long gray coat, her dark hair dripping wet, as if she'd been caught in heavy rain. Strangely, her clothes looked decades out of style, like something from the 1940s. She didn't make eye contact with anyone. Quietly, she sat 2 seats away from Thomas. At first, Thomas thought nothing of it, but soon he noticed she wasn't holding a bag or a phone or anything, just sitting there, hands folded in her lap, staring straight ahead. Every time Thomas glanced at her, he felt a strange chill, like the air around her was colder. Part 3. Something's wrong. By the next few stops, the other passengers had left, until only Thomas and the strange woman were in the carriage. Thomas tried not to stare, but he couldn't help it. Something about her felt wrong. When the train stopped at Archway Station, Thomas noticed something terrifying. The woman did not move. She didn't blink. She didn't even breathe. And when the train started moving again, Thomas caught her reflection in the carriage window. Her face in the reflection was smiling, but when he looked directly at her, her expression was completely blank. Thomas froze. His heart pounded. Part 4. The Encounter. Finally, at East Finchley, Thomas decided to leave the train early and just call a taxi home. But as he stood up, the woman suddenly turned her head and looked directly at him. Her eyes were completely black. And in a low, whispering voice, she said, "Don't leave me here. You saw me. You have to take me with you." Thomas stumbled backwards, his hands shaking as he pressed the door button. The train doors opened, and he rushed out onto the empty platform. But when he looked back inside the carriage, the woman was gone. The seat where she had been sitting was completely empty. Part 5. The Aftermath. Breathing heavily, Thomas ran up the stairs to the surface. A cold wind cut across his face as he exited the station. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe it was exhaustion. But when he finally got home and switched on the light in his flat, something froze his blood. On his living room mirror, written in wet streaks, were the words, "You can't leave me behind." And on the floor, right by the mirror, were wet footprints leading from his front door, straight into his bedroom. Ending, narrator tone. The next morning, Thomas's neighbors reported that his flat door had been left wide open. Inside, everything was normal, except Thomas was gone. To this day, he has never been found. Some say he became the next passenger on that last London train. And if you ever find yourself alone on the Underground, especially on the last service of the night, check the reflections in the window carefully, because someone might be sitting beside you, waiting for you to notice them. Outro, YouTube style. So what do you think? Was Thomas simply imagining things after a long night? Or did something far more sinister happen on the last London train? If you've ever had a strange experience on the Underground, let me know in the comments.